So, think about your own city for a second. If you have ever lived through like a single subway line expansion or even just a major highway being widened, you know exactly what that entails.
Oh, yeah. It means a decade of orange cones,
Mm.
endless detours, the noise, just constant disruption.
Exactly. And the physical evolution of a metropolitan area is something we are, conditioned to measure in generations. Like a neighborhood slowly gentrifies over 20 years, or a skyline adds maybe one or two new silhouettes a decade. It's the slow, organic creep.
Right, because historically, urban development is this game of incremental layering. You are constantly negotiating with the past. I mean, you're navigating around century-old plumbing, historical zoning laws, entrenched community habits.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It really is. We just expect human geography to grow the way a coral reef grows, right?
Yeah.
It builds upon itself millimeter by millimeter, adapting over this incredibly long timeline.
But what happens when a city refuses to wait? What if you left a capital city, came back just 5 years later, and found that the entire landscape was completely rewritten?
And we mean everything. The skyline, the economic corridors, the commercial centers, even just the physical way citizens move through the streets.
Right. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at this fascinating stack of notes, articles, and municipal excerpts today. And our mission is to explore the staggering 2026 transformation of Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
It is just a remarkable case study. We are examining a geographic location that is actively defying all traditional timelines for urban development.
Basically attempting to bypass a century of incremental growth in, roughly 36 months?
Yeah, essentially.
The premise here is just wild. The sources state point blank that Addis Ababa is no longer the city the world once knew. We are talking about a place that, even half a decade ago, had a very specific historical footprint.
Oh, entirely. But today, in 2026, it is officially one of the fastest transforming cities on the African continent. And this isn't just like a fresh coat of paint. It is fueled by an unprecedented influx of massive foreign investment.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the sheer scale and simultaneity of the changes happening right now are almost hard to process. It's like an extreme home makeover, but for an entire capital city.
That's a great way to put it. What's fascinating here is that this isn't just organic growth, and it certainly isn't a sudden, unexpected commodity boom either.
Right. The sources emphasize it's highly deliberate, yeah.
Exactly. It is a historic urban revolution driven by deliberate government policy. There is a unified national vision at play to establish Ethiopia as the undisputed #1 business and tourism destination in East Africa.
Wow.
Yeah, and that level of strategic coordination requires a complete overhaul of everything, from international finance regulations down to the literal pavement on the streets.
And to really understand the scale of this overhaul, we have to look at where all that foreign investment is actually landing first. So naturally, it starts with the skyline.
Always. You look at any rapidly emerging economy, and the immediate visual proof of arrival is always a sprawling cluster of glass and steel.
Right.
The skyline is the most immediate visual metric of foreign direct investment. It acts as a beacon for the global economy.
And the most glaring proof in our notes is the Eagle Hills Addis Ababa project. According to the text, this is a billion-dollar mega project, heavily backed by foreign capital, bringing luxury residential towers, commercial spaces, and mixed-use developments right into the heart of the city.
Moving at a speed that has actually shocked longtime residents.
Which is wild to think about. And it's not just high-rise towers acting as status symbols. We have to look at what's happening at the ground level, specifically the Addis Ababa street mall boom.
Oh, the retail explosion there is relentless. Walking down this corridor feels like entering a completely different economic reality compared to a few years ago.
Because you have multiple large-scale commercial centers opening up all at once, it's creating thousands of jobs and pulling in both local entrepreneurs and international brands to serve Ethiopia's growing middle class.
The pairing of those two distinct developments is a textbook strategy. You have the high-end luxury developments of Eagle Hills operating in tandem with massive consumer retail on Addis Ababa Street.
I totally see the logic there, but I have to push back a little on what the text is claiming.
Sure, what are you thinking?
Well, the source says the Eagle Hills project signals that the city is open for business at the highest level, implying this is universally positive. But does moving at a speed that literally shocks longtime residents risk alienating the people who actually live there?
That's a fair point.
I mean, is this just a necessary rip-the-Band-Aid off approach to rapid modernization?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, We have to understand how luxury mega projects and retail corridors function on the global stage. They serve as a global beacon for foreign capital and consumer market confidence.
Because they want to know it's a safe bet.
Exactly. When foreign capital looks for a place to land, it demands an ecosystem that minimizes risk. A sprawling luxury tower proves that the supply chains work, that the engineering talent is reliable, and that the political will exists to protect that investment.
So it essentially de-risks the environment for the next wave of global investors.
Exactly. Even though it does create immediate, intense civic friction, disruption is unavoidable. But the strategy relies on the assumption that the economic momentum will outpace the social friction.
Okay, I see that. You can build billion-dollar towers and massive malls, but they are useless if people can't easily reach them, which perfectly transitions into how Addis Ababa is physically moving its population through new infrastructure.
Because you cannot run a 2026 economic engine on a legacy road network. The supply chain friction is just too high.
Right. And the sources detail an intense overhaul of the city's arteries, specifically highlighting two major corridors. First, you have the Bowl Corridor, which features wide lanes, modern streetscaping, and, crucially, a highly pedestrian-friendly design.
But simultaneously, you have the Chichinia Corridor. And that one is undergoing massive asphalt work and urban renewal to completely reshape the neighborhood's logistics.
Yeah, and the source explicitly notes these aren't just roads. They are, quote, engines of economic growth connecting communities, businesses, and opportunities.
Which is very deliberate phrasing. In modern urban planning, guaranteed logistics corridors are a strict prerequisite for global high finance. Every minute a delivery truck sits in traffic is a drain on the GDP.
It's like upgrading the cardiovascular system of the city. But here's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. When a city focuses on pedestrian-friendly design alongside massive highway asphalt work, how does that physically change the daily routine of a citizen walking to one of those new Adadi Abeba street malls?
This raises an important question about preventing gridlock. Historically, rapidly developing cities made the catastrophic mistake of only building for cars, which made walking impossible. But a truly modern city knows that a high-velocity retail economy requires localized walkability.
Right, because if consumers can't easily cross the street, retail velocity just plummets.
Exactly. So you employ a dual-path approach. The heavy asphalt work on Chichinia handles the severe logistics, the commercial freight, the regional commuting.
The heavy lifting, basically.
Yeah, it acts as the heavy-duty conveyor belt. Meanwhile, the pedestrian-friendly streetscaping on the Bowl Corridor ensures that once people are actually in the commercial zones, they can safely navigate between shops.
That makes a lot of sense. You separate the supply chain from the consumer experience, but tearing up roads and reshaping neighborhoods naturally leads to the tension of what gets left behind.
Oh, the psychological toll on the citizenry can be immense when the geography of their childhood is demolished.
Exactly. We're talking about an ancient historical capital. How does a city modernize at this breakneck speed without paving over its soul? Which brings us to the transformation of Piazza Rada Park.
One of the most historically weighty areas in the city.
Yeah, but it hasn't been preserved under glass. It has been completely reimagined into a modern, green urban space that deliberately blends heritage with contemporary design. Plus, you have these sprawling new stadium developments signaling a commitment to world-class sports and entertainment.
Which serves a very specific social function.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting for me. It's like putting a state-of-the-art smartwatch inside a vintage 19th century pocket watch case. But how do parks and sports stadiums actually serve as cultural glue when the rest of the city is turning into glass towers?
You have to look at them as pressure release valves. If you don't engineer spaces for community gathering and cultural reflection, a rapidly developing city becomes hostile to its own people.
It needs breathing room.
Exactly. Piazza Rada Park visually communicates that the city's shared history is still valued. It provides a sense of shared identity amidst the aggressive commercialization.
A sense of continuity to stop the psychological whiplash.
Right. And stadiums build a shared excitement for the new reality.
Yeah.
When you have 60,000 diverse people cheering for the same team in a brand new facility, they are collectively experiencing the tangible benefits of their city's elevated global status.
Okay, so if Piazza Rada is an exercise in carefully preserving the old amidst the new, the next logical step is looking at what happens when the city decides to just build the future from scratch.
This is where the strategy crosses into visionary, master-planned mega projects.
And in our sources, that mega project is known as Shager City. The text explicitly describes this as Africa's next megacity, actively under construction right now.
It is massive.
Yeah, sprawling planned districts, modern housing, green spaces, and smart